Welcome back to Matriarch Alchemy. Today we are going to be discussing boundaries.
Such a scary word for some people. One of the things that I was thinking about when I was thinking about topics was like about niceness and how everyone doesn't have to like you. I mean, to be your authentic self, to do everything, to be good, you can have a really big heart. You can be really kind. You don't have to be nice all the time. Just as people who say they're sorry because they're standing in the cracker aisle in the general vicinity of where you need to go. Why are you apologizing? Sorry. I mean, it's one thing for me to say, excuse me, I need to get the cracker behind you.
Yeah.
But then why are you sorry? I'm like, I'm not sorry for existing.
I feel like a lot of women have kind of been like forced this idea to constantly be apologetic for their existence. So, like, I'm sorry that I'm existing in your space.
Do you think that's just women?
I mean, I feel like it's mostly women who do like say, I'm sorry for like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're like, excuse me. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, hey, I was using that. Oh, sorry. It's a lot of sorries, but
So much
men don't
sorry.
say sorry, really. I
But
mean, how?
especially excessively. Like, stop saying sorry. Like, sorry for existing. Unless you did something. I'm sorry I spilled my coffee on your paper.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry I hit your car. I'm sorry I was late.
right.
But also, thank you for waiting for me. I was late.
I feel like it is one thing that like we've been taught since we were little kids is always apologizing for whatever
Yes.
we're doing.
It's like a little pet peeve of mine. And I always want to tell people, why are, no, you're not sorry. No, so I mean, I think the one thing I would point out that maybe people getting to know us on this show is like, we're not always nice.
We're not always
We're not
sorry.
always known for being nice, right? Like, but this is the thing. But we're the ones you would call if you need help. It's like I'll show up with my brass knuckles and we'll be there. But the thing is Ali and I both, I think, have discernment,
Yeah.
and we struggle with not pointing things out or being direct. I would say we're very direct. So when she's in dating, when I hear a lot from her boyfriends is, "Oh, you're like a man," or "You're other
You
women aren't
think like a
like that
man.
because you stand up for yourself. You say it like it is."
Yeah.
And granted, we're not from the South where right now everything was like, you have to hide what you're asking for to be polite. Well, we didn't, I don't know. In Colorado, it's not really a thing. In fact, and I would say out to the West Coast, if you're not being direct, you're a problem because you're not a good communicator. If
Yeah.
you're not directly saying, can you help me move this weekend? I'm not putting you in a position. I'm asking directly.
Yes.
You can
Yes or
say
no.
no, and I can be okay with you saying
But you
no.
also don't need to apologize for not being able to. Because I feel like people will be like, I'm so sorry. No, I can't. But it's like, why
Well,
are
and
you
so I think that's
apologizing?
polite to say that, but it's more like then they act like they're feeling obligated, and I'm like, well, okay. But so my main thing with discernment when it comes to just relationships, and this, I think this happened with you in high school, and I know it happens still to this day with me and my friendships. And I've talked it out with some of my oldest friends that I've had for 30, 40 years. And they're like, oh, everyone needs a friend like you. It's fine. But these are my friends that get me. Right. And they're
Yeah.
okay. They're very emotionally healed, like intelligent women that they get it. So I don't have the same reaction from everyone. So discernment is like, I'm going to notice and I'm going to see that you have trauma or addictions or how you're making repeated bad choices, dating and whatnot. Like, I'm going to make you feel naked because this is, I think, what people are uncomfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
You point out and say, well, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? You're sitting here boo-hooing about your dating, but yet you consistently keep choosing these terrible men,
Yeah.
or you keep doing a certain behavior, or I see if you're a narcissist. I see codependency. I can see when you're not setting your boundaries. And
Yeah.
if I'm your friend, I tend to want to say something about it because I care about you. But I'm not the
Yeah.
kind that I'm not an enabler.
Well, that's what I struggle with, like, especially with female friendships at this moment, is a lot of people just want a friend who's going to enable them, even if it's a poor or bad choice. But
Mm-hmm.
I personally just can't be that person. Like, I want to actually tell you, like, is that really the best idea? Or do you really think you should be doing that? Why do you act that way? Like, I'm bringing those thoughts to the surface. And I think a lot of them, just want someone
Yeah.
who's going to be their cheerleader. And, I struggle. I can't be your cheerleader if you're doing something that I feel like is harmful to you as a friend.
Yeah, and I feel like I have a hard time understanding why this is a problem or breaks up friendships. So,
Yeah.
why is your friend who is supportive of you and trying to help you, why would you get so defensive? Like, I see women just squirming when you ask these questions or you point out that they did something. When they
Yeah.
feel naked and they feel seen, they get red in the face. They're, oh my gosh. And they always say things like, you could have said it nicer. No, I really couldn't have, because when
Yeah.
I'm nice, as and I kiss your butt and I skirt around the issue, you don't change. You don't notice it. You don't acknowledge it. Right. So I
Right.
couldn't, you really just, I'm being polite. But if I point out, like, hey, I see you're crying to me for the third time about a man calling you names or being abusive to you when you're dating, but you're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah. It's a
Why
pattern.
is that?
I'm
Oh, I have women go, I'm aware I have daddy issues. I have this, I have abandonment issues. I have codependency. Well, you're aware. Maybe you work on it and fix it before you date anybody else. I don't know. Or just
Yeah.
stop. You can't keep complaining when you're just choosing it over and over again, right?
Right.
So that, like, the calling out of just whatever the behavior is. Dating's the easiest thing to just kind of pluck out from the cloud, but there's so many other things,
Right.
and people don't like hearing that other people can see they're doing something. And what I like to call it is like you're getting in your own way. Like, I
Yeah.
will point out you're getting in your own way, and I'm here to help you. I want you to be better. Like, I love my friends, but I've had to walk away from people that continuously make terrible choices. And not that I have no beef,
Right. It's just like,
but I can't have it around me anymore. I've spent a long time healing after my divorce and dealing with alcoholism, and I
yeah.
can't watch my friend drink themselves to death. I can't watch a friend cheat on their husband and allow it. Like, I can't respect
Yeah.
you anymore when you're making those choices. If you're unhappy in your marriage, get divorced.
Couples therapy. I don't know.
Something. Yeah,
I
one of
think
those things,
that is what's hard
definitely.
is like, being a good friend doesn't mean that you're going to support everything that they do.
Hmm.
Um, but I would also want a friend who's telling me of my shortcomings and being like, hey, you tend to do this. Like, is there something that you need help with? You know, being an active friend in my life versus just being like oh, you're so great. It's fine that you cheat on, so and so. Not like I have, but if I was doing it and they're just like, oh, I get why.
Well, just the enabling, like,
Yeah.
they want people that enable them. And I can use a really interesting example is, I'm on a couple, like, dating group sites where women talk about men they're dating or men that cheat and whatnot online on Facebook.
Yeah.
And if you give advice or you tell someone what they're saying is wrong or like ridiculous or we think they're way off the wall,
Yeah.
oh my
They
gosh,
can't handle it.
it's like Panic at the Disco. Everybody is attacking you. Oh my gosh, that's so weird that you would say that. Like, the women in these dating groups
Yeah.
can't set boundaries. They want to keep, like, standing up for each other, and they want to say, "Oh, you're right, and you're doing it right," and they want this positive reinforcement. But you have
Yeah.
to understand, like, I'm an older dater, and I can come in and I can tell 30-year-old women dating, that's a huge red flag, and
Yeah.
you shouldn't do that, and he shouldn't be doing that, and blah blah blah.
Right.
And I would hope that young women might understand that I have some wisdom behind why or what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not dating men like that. I'm not having that problem. Like,
Right.
but it's like I dated one guy and I really learned, like, picking out all the behaviors. It felt like a complete experiment during my divorce. And then it was like, yeah, no more of this.
Yeah. Well, and it's not that we're saying that we're not like a girl's girl. We're going to be there for the ladies, but at the
Such a
same
girl's
time
girl.
I feel like it's more of a girl's girl being like, "Hey, what you're doing is toxic for you. It
Yeah.
is harmful. Here's the advice that I might have.
Mhm.
Take it with a grain of salt, but like think about it. Try to figure out why you're putting yourself in these situations or how you keep ending up with the same kind of, men you're dating that are constantly abusive or alcoholics. Like, how are you ending up in the same situations but not realizing?
Well, some of it, and I will stand up for that, saying that men are very manipulative and they're lying and they're being a fake persona until later, and then do things. The mask starts to slip, and then it does start to change. So you get tricked. So it's not
Yeah.
always your
Well,
fault.
right.
The thing is things start happening. You need to start doing something about it. You
Yeah.
can't keep allowing it. And the best thing I've ever learned is you need to check people the first time. The
Yeah.
first time somebody gaslights you dating, the first time they lie, the first time you think they're doing something inappropriate, you're like, you know what? You can do whatever you want, but I don't want this for me,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go.
Here's my hard boundary. Don't cross it again.
No, that's
But
bossy and controlling. You're
well, no,
saying
it's not controlling to tell
you don't
someone
even.
your thing and be like, "Hey, you crossed my boundary. That's it."
But yeah, you can say I want this for myself. But
And
just
if that's what
that
you,
part of communicating is not saying stuff like that. Like if men feel like they have rules that are uncomfortable, they don't like that.
okay, I guess I worded that
I know totally
incorrectly.
what you mean, and you're totally on the
More
right
of,
track.
you did something that I'm not comfortable with. So here's my boundary. I don't want that for myself. You choose if you want to be in this relationship, but
Uh-huh.
this is where my boundary is. And if I see this kind of behavior again, I'm just going to go.
This doesn't work for me. And the thing is, for this to work, you have to do it.
I think a
You
lot of,
have to do it. When you say, "Oh my gosh, if I see him liking one more girl's photos on Instagram, I'm breaking up with it." Well, then if you're going to say that, you need to do it.
well, yeah, I think a
You
lot
can't
of,
just keep woohooing about it and complaining. We don't nag men. You're going to
right.
say, "This is what I want for myself." And if you aren't going to, like, does that sound okay to you? First of all,
Yeah.
can you live within these standards? He says yes. If he doesn't, you don't say anything. But if he does it, you leave. You pack up your little makeup bag out of his bathroom, you go home. And I mean, you just have to.
I think it goes into like a lot of people don't know how to uphold boundaries that they have set.
Hmm.
So, they'll be like, oh, well, I know I said I wasn't okay if that happened, but, like,
Well, then they love them,
but
right?
then
So
if
they
it
go,
happens
"I'm so
again,
sorry," and then this and that. And then you think about all the good things, and you're like, "I'm just going to give him another chance." I
but,
mean,
but people
I
don't change unless they want to.
it depends obviously what it is.
Yeah.
Now, but for the most part, all these nuances don't really exist. It is someone will gaslight you and into believing that it wasn't that big of a deal. They will try to make you feel crazy,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be around. I mean, the guy I'm dating now, it's not like that at all. He would never do that.
No.
There's never a question of whether or not he liked me or he was into me. You just don't date people like that.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, you don't know immediately, but honestly, within 3 months, you know someone's personality pretty well. And if you don't, you know to work on your discernment yourself, right?
Yeah.
But so, one of the things, like, I feel like I've struggled with too is that people not doing like their own inner work and their own shadow work. If you go through a breakup and you're popping off to somebody else immediately without doing a little bit of you time, figuring out who you are, being happy, being healed, where you don't bring your insecurities from what X did into the new relationship. Like
Yeah.
if you just within 1 week or, oh, let's go steady with a new guy, like you took no time for yourself to even get over that, and let go of those things. And I
Let
just think
alone
that's,
learn from,
but you
you
have to
know,
do like your own shadow work. So saying, why do I choose these people, or why do I not set the boundary? And then go really unapologetically into a new relationship with hardcore boundary setting. And I will tell you, like the guy I'm dating now, I went into it that way and it didn't scare him away.
no, I think it's only scary to people who are like, oh,
I mean, I was
but
like hardcore, like, this is what I want, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
If you like me, great.
if you don't,
Live within this is what I want for myself.
yeah,
And that's, if you're that authentic, you're so much more likely to get the relationship you want.
I would agree with that. I mean, you're going to scare off people also, like not in a bad way. You're going to scare the people who are
The bad
there to
ones.
try to do harm to you. they're going to go, oh, shoot, she's strong in her opinions and feelings about
Yeah.
herself and her respect that, okay, I can't overcross her boundaries because she's going to catch it real quick. So,
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like narcissism. So it's such a huge buzzword and overly used in the most horrible ways these days online, where I don't think people are actually using this term appropriately a lot of time. Every little behavior is not narcissism. A video of your husband walking fast in front of you in the airport is not narcissism. If
yeah.
he's in a hurry, I mean, come on, things happen. Like where it's not every time. I get there are little clues, but there's big picture, right? And
Yeah.
so I tend to think when you have discernment and you start to call narcissists out, though, they get really triggered. They're very outraged that they can't manipulate you.
Yeah.
And then when they realize that you see them, they really don't want anything to do with you anymore. And they will start to like X you out of their life. They won't invite you
Well,
to stuff. They
that
won't tell you
or
things because they don't like being seen. They don't want you to tell other people what they're like.
well, I feel like the people who are in your life, or at least like in your circles, so let's say like family, friends,
Mm-hmm.
family or friends, if they are narcissists,
Mm-hmm.
they will try to like excommunicate you from your friends and your family as a way of like bad mouthing and being like, no, this is what really happened. And you guys know I'm such a good person. But they're trying to, push you to the side so that these other friends won't talk to you because they know that you're not able to be manipulated and you
Mm-hmm.
might, make it worse for them
Yeah.
to manipulate other people in your groups.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the victim of a smear campaign after a breakup where someone tried to record me out of context after a fight, or we were both intoxicated after a party,
Mm-hmm.
and try to send it to my friends like after. And I'm like, that's the sickest thing right there. I would never do something like that to someone.
That's horrendous.
So like, who's that covert narcissist
No, I
for
know.
sure? But it's like,
I know.
I don't ever really feel like it's that important to
No.
tell all my sides. Like, I
Right.
feel like the truth kind of comes out, and I try to have my character speak for itself, where they can say what they want to say, but there's just sometimes toxic things going on that you really all you can do sometimes is remove yourself. You go through a divorce. It's a really eye-opening and very changing time. And it's not just for yourself of what you think, because people are like, "Oh, it destroys families." Well, what happens is you change. If you put in the effort to heal. I worked with a counselor for a while after my divorce and I didn't sit there and boohoo and cry and say I don't know what went wrong. I sat down and I said, I want to know what I can acknowledge about myself, that none of these things ever happen again, and I want to heal certain things. And he just like helped give me like steps
Yeah.
and ways to do stuff. And that was like, I think what people don't understand about counseling is you don't necessarily have to sit there and rehash all your childhood or your problems. It's
Right.
go in there and say, I don't think I set boundaries with people. I don't
Yeah.
want to sit here and talk about why forever. I mean, I can for myself.
Right. I can
He'll tell you
recognize.
what to do to figure it out for yourself. Like, you don't always have to share everything with anybody.
Unless you want to.
But like him giving that, and I took the time, I wrote up like, what do I really want in a partner?
Yeah.
And like, you can look at people keeping you away. No.
I don't know
So
why I get so yawny when we're talking.
it's the
Your brain,
lighting. I'm very comfortable.
you yawn because your brain's trying to pull in more oxygen for all of your knowledge neurons.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That sounds good. I like that. So, I think when you heal through a divorce and you're also no longer easily manipulated, or you don't put up with abuse and you don't let people talk down to you or treat you poorly anymore, like you're healed, it changes the dynamic completely. So
Yeah.
I don't put up with stuff that I would have stuff where people would like say mean things to me at a barbecue and I'd be like, are you serious? And like, oh, I was just kidding.
It's not
That was just
funny.
a joke. You can't take a joke. I'm like, those are what,
What's
speaking of like narcissistic things to do, it's always, I was just kidding. It's just a joke. Like, there's
what
jokes and there's bullying.
what
It's
I've
not the
loved
same.
is watching a narcissist squirm though when you call them out on it. So like when they're like, it's just a joke, and you're like, can you repeat that? What was funny about it? Can you explain it? And then it gets uncomfortable for them. They're like,
They didn't think it
well,
they that's not how they think
oh
you'll
yeah, it's
reply
not
to it.
funny
They know
anymore.
it's not
I
funny.
know, but
They're
I
trying to
enjoy,
undermine you and, like, undermine your confidence, and
yeah,
their point is, like, you're never confident. So, I've learned over the years, like, there are certain people that they probably think I'm stupid or I'm this and I'm that because I won't engage. So, even if they're mean to me, I realize pointing it out is absolute waste of my time.
yeah,
So, I don't do it. And those people, I'm not going to talk to you anymore because it's like talking to a seventh grader. And I'm like, you're a grown woman in your 40s. We're not going to argue like that.
yeah,
Like, you're not going to speak to me that way. And just, ugh, I don't know. You have to just
yeah,
walk away sometimes. And like you said, there's no beef.
yeah,
There's no, I don't hate on anyone, but I'm going to remove myself from situations that are disrespectful.
right.
But I'm also, I want to be happy. And there's no point in spending a bunch of time with people that don't treat you well.
That's where I've kind of gotten. Like, I feel like a lot of the people that I don't talk to, it's not that I don't like them or I don't enjoy being around them, but you know, it's more exhausting for me to try and be nice to everybody who I know is not kind behind closed doors or
Yeah,
talking poorly.
be
Like,
fake.
I don't want to be fake. I want to be authentic. I want to be happy in my life. Are you adding or subtracting from my life? Is it worth it?
Yeah. So, a couple of things that I wrote down about the whole not everyone has to like you thing was kind of like how you get out of that, where you can set boundaries better and not be triggered and get so defensive and upset by things. So, one of the things was one, don't take other people's emotional immaturity personally. And this doesn't matter if they're your family. You don't have to take it personally.
Yeah.
Like, someone can call you every name in the book. They can tell you you're weak and you're stupid and you're. I had a girlfriend recently come to me and she was so upset because someone called her these things. And she said, I just feel so triggered and I'm so upset. So I argue against because I don't want anyone to ever think that about me. And I was like, do you think that about you? Because here's the thing, you're giving it value when you sit and argue like it's true. So
Yeah.
if you were like, are you okay, bro? Like maybe I'm just like, but I don't see it that way. There's just
Yeah.
different ways to respond. And there's no point in arguing against someone who's just trying to attack you morally or, hurt your confidence. So don't have to take it
Yeah.
personally.
And
It doesn't have to be true. And
like,
no one thinks it's true just because one mean person said, oh, everyone thinks you're this.
yeah.
Everyone thinks you're that. Oh, everyone? I don't think so.
Well, I also have come to realize that most of the time people who are talking negatively about you or something about you to somebody else, it's a lot of
Hmm.
their own insecurities that are like being projected,
Hmm.
and you might amplify their feeling of insecurity based off of your own security with yourself.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people who are uncomfortable, internalize a lot of the things you say as, oh, well, were they saying this because they know I'm not doing as good as them with that? But really, you're just like, oh, I'm excited. I'm doing this great thing for myself. They're internalizing it. And so I have to step back when people, say negative things to me, like, oh, well, you were just trying to be mean to me.
So the way you can actually see that, one of the things is a lot is people who get very triggered by a question.
Yes.
So if whether or not you have the touch of the tism, we when you want clarification and you want to just say something, or you not necessarily disagree with someone, but say, oh, I do it this way,
Yeah.
their response, like if I were to say, I never eat chicken nuggets for dinner, right after you said, oh, we're making chicken nuggets for dinner, it's not me saying you're a pile of crap for eating chicken nuggets, you're
Right.
disgusting and horrible. I'm just saying, I
I
don't
eat
eat
chicken
chicken nuggets
nuggets.
for dinner, right? So the way they respond, like she was so rude and said she never eats
So
chicken
she was
nuggets for
just
dinner.
trying to be
It's
more
not,
better than me.
no, but so
No,
right there,
I know,
it's
that's what I'm saying.
projection.
You're
It's you like,
projecting your own thoughts.
so you're thinking, "Oh my god, I'm pathetic and sad, and I'm this, and I'm not doing
I'm
good
so
enough.
childish because
I'm
I'm
not
making chicken nuggets
I'm
for dinner.
childish." right?
Yeah.
Everything about that statement came out from you, like out of your insides, not
Right.
you,
No,
but
I know.
when
I
you're
get where you're going.
so the point of that example is you project on what you just did is like you're sitting there trying to call this person rude. Well, you just said, I feel like a childish idiot for eating chicken nuggets for dinner.
Right.
Even though they didn't ever say that and they may never have meant it, but you're gonna be like, that's what she meant. And I'm like,
Well, and that's
quite
what
unlikely
I
that that's what they
struggle with
meant.
personally is when people ask me questions and I answer like, "Oh, when do you plan on having kids?" And I say like,
Hmm.
not anytime soon. I want to wait for having a house or being married." People will take that if they don't have those things and project like, "Oh, well, so she just thinks she's better because I did it wrong." But I never said that. You asked my own personal opinion.
Right.
It's one of those things that I'm just like,
So people get defensive because they
mhm,
don't feel like they don't have confidence. They don't feel like they've, I don't know, met the whole success timeline appropriately, whatever it is, the false thing that doesn't exist.
yeah,
Have kids whatever age you want. Don't get married. Don't get
right.
married young. Get married older. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
But if you're
These are not
asking,
important things.
but if you're asking someone's opinion and they're not fitting your timeline of whatever you've done,
Yeah.
they're not trying to discredit your life or your
Right.
feelings.
Yeah, and I find you and I both will ask a lot of questions. And
Yeah.
I find I was always told, especially when I was young, that I had an attitude problem. And I asked a lot of questions and I disagreed a lot.
Yeah.
And I was in an environment that I didn't really agree with a lot of times, but I wasn't allowed to. So everybody chipped away at my confidence
Yeah.
by telling me I have an attitude problem and you're just a strong willed child and you're this. And they really tried to steal my light.
Yeah.
And it took me years to get it back. It made me stay too long in an abusive relationship, like all these things you don't realize. Like when you don't allow someone to ask questions and have their own opinion, it just it just changes children.
I mean, what's the one thing you think of when you think of a little kid and they start talking? Oh, what's that? Why? Like, it's a constant why. And I mean,
And I'm learning, right? I
yeah,
love learning and I need clarification. So
yes.
if you tell me something and you would like my response, and if I need three more points to give you what I think is the best response, I'm not judging you. Instances with women where certain things happen where they'll say like, oh, well, we weren't sure if we wanted to have kids, but now we're married. But I said, so how did you resolve that?
Yeah.
And I had a woman say to me, don't judge. And
Oh,
I was like,
I'm not. I'm just asking.
me asking how you resolved, you married someone, you wanted to have kids and he didn't.
Right.
And I ask, oh, how did you resolve that? And then instantly you're defensive. Oh, don't judge. She's so judgy. And I'm
I was
like,
just genuinely asking. Or you
I
could just
actually
say,
just asking, oh,
we
how
just
did you
didn't really
resolve that?
talk about it anymore.
But
You could just say
so,
that.
but I could see how someone listening to this, because they would do it that way. They think, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you
Yeah.
would say that or you would do this. But it's like, this is the thing where you make people feel naked.
Yeah.
I'm pointing out you made a choice. I don't know. I actually don't know how you resolved it or if I'm judging
Mhm.
yet or not.
Well, I struggle with that, like having friends who are like dating or in the early stages of marriage.
Hmm.
And, you know, girlfriend will confide in me about something that's going on between them. And I'm like, oh, dang, like here's, maybe some thoughts. Don't listen to me. I'm not, married, but in relationships, this is what I've seen. And
Yeah.
the next time I see them, I'm like, so how did that go? And they're like, oh, we just decided not to like talk about it. And that, like, they just
Mm.
pretend it never existed and move on when it's a pretty big topic, like deciding to have
Yeah.
kids
They don't
together
want the
or
confrontation.
drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially.
I don't know. I just
Well,
think having supportive partners that are, going to continue to lift you up, as well as friends that are going to continue to lift you up, is like the most important thing.
yeah.
Who respect your boundaries and uphold your boundaries that you have as well. So, your own boundaries in relationships should be respected, but also withheld by your friends.
Yeah.
for you.
So the next thing is like talking about how we acknowledge these things so we can get better at setting
Mhm.
boundaries, right? So one, don't take other emotionally immature people's things personally. And two, you have to acknowledge, yes, you deserve better. Yes, it wasn't okay that that happened. You're gonna have to feel it, but you don't let it become who you are. You're not a victim. So we all have a story, right?
Yeah,
So you can acknowledge that that shouldn't have happened. But the thing is stuff happens, things happens. We all have dark things that happen to us, bad things that happens to us.
yeah.
Nobody, I don't know if I've ever met someone who's like, I've had a perfect job life where nothing ever happened. Well, also that's super boring. But you don't do anything with yourself. Like you haven't overcome any adversity.
How do you grow if you don't overcome adversity?
Yeah.
Adverse.
Yeah. So overcoming it and setting boundaries is not you saying that it was okay that it happened. It's
Yeah.
just you still have to acknowledge it. You still have to feel the feelings. And it's hard, but you can't stay there. You still have to, okay, we're going to move on. It's like we talk about dealing with grief and
Yeah.
you can't wallow. You do. And the biggest thing, like kids and anybody, any person on earth, when you're stuck, action is the answer. Action, move,
I'm gonna
do
say
stuff.
your favorite word. You can't become complacent in relationships and being okay with letting people harm you over and over. You are becoming complacent by not changing yourself
Hmm.
or changing your environment or changing the people that are around you if they are doing harm to yourself.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally. It's not that that's not my favorite word. It's
I
just
know
we
it's
had
just
a conversation the other day where she said it over and over again. And I was like, enough already.
but it's. I mean, I do think it is like the silent killer is becoming complacent in every aspect of your life. You
Hmm.
become content in a sense of like, it's okay that I don't go to the gym every day, or it's okay that I don't eat healthy all the time. You become okay with the things that you allow. Well,
Well, and sometimes that's still okay, which I guess I would need some big picture behind, right? All of that. But there
right.
is some overall complacency. But when it comes to setting boundaries, okay, you're gonna not take it personally. You deserve better. Yes, but it wasn't okay. Fine. Next thing, adversity teaches things that you can only learn one way. Your character is being formed. So look constantly for solutions. That's kind of like how I look at it. So um if I've learned anything, like adversity builds the strongest warriors. Women, we've all been through all of this stuff. Like, are you a victim? Are you a casualty? Or are you now going to become a warrior and fight against this and help protect other women, help your daughters? Like, there's there's only those two options. And if you're complacent, you're staying stuck. If you're not doing anything, if you're not opening your mouth, if you're not standing up against abuse, like
Yes, fighter.
you're staying there and allowing it.
It's just like fight, flight, or freeze. So freeze, you become complacent. You fight, you're helping other people, you change yourself. Or flight, you just run away from those problems and you continue to do it over and over again.
Right. So I think the thing is like helping people that are frozen. So like what do they need to hear, that they can act? How can they move into action? How can you change your mindset into I'm going to work through this. I'm going to be better. This sucks that this happened, but also I'm going to keep going. I'm going to be better and I'm going to get away from this. I'm going to get out of this. And so if I were a kid and I still couldn't really leave my home, say
Mm-hmm.
I'm 17, I would pour all of my energy into my education. If I could work, I would work. I would save every possible penny. Like if you want to change your situation. But your education is something you'd never regret. The better
Well, I
you do
mean,
in
you're
school, the more you're learning, like the better grades you get, just the more
and more opportunities.
opportunity you're going to have. And college experiences, finding ways to go with so much support there is out there now, online classes, like it gives you life experience, which will help boost your confidence.
Dude, I can't stop yawning
I just
today.
fed Allie a huge bowl of chili before we did this, and now she's going into night-night
I'm
mode.
not even tired. It's like my brain's just like, we need oxygen for sitting here.
She's yawning in the
Um,
whole podcast.
Maybe when you feel like you need to get out of a situation, but you have to make a game plan. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, if I know I'm 17 and I have 6 months until I'm 18 or I graduate or whatever goal you set, it's, hey, how
Yeah.
am I going to get to where when I look at myself in 8 months, where am I going to be and how
Mm-hmm.
can I get myself there? Making a game plan
Mm-hmm.
just so you're ready. And then if you're in a relationship where you feel like, it's kind of hard to get out of if you're still living with someone or whatever, okay, make your game plan. You've communicated with them more than enough that if they're crossing your boundaries, they know you've set that boundary and you make your game plan. Okay,
I
let's.
think that what I've noticed over the past, 20 years of women that they'll say a lot, oh, I wish I could just afford to get divorced, or I wish I've been stay-at-home mom. I have two, three little kids. What do I do? Like, how am I supposed to go? I'm like, well, the courts will protect you. There are
Yeah.
things out there to help you. And your husband will still be responsible, whether he says he won't or not. The court will do their best to make him responsible. And there is protections. And you have to remember that. And sometimes you go to the free attorney that they have. There's help. And if you're in an abusive situation, you can go get a restraining order so you can stay in your house.
So I remember when you had first brought up getting divorced, like when I was like 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you talking about how scary it was in a sense of like, I think you didn't know what to expect. You had never lived on your own before. You went from parents to married to kids, no in between.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what kind of advice would you give for like the women that you wish you could have told earlier in relationships so they weren't in these longer 20-year marriages or,
You
that
mean
kind
you
of.
mean about divorce?
Well, divorce or even a breakup where they feel like they're kind of stuck or they're scared of the unknown. I hope that was a loaded
That
question.
was just a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to hone in like on what can I talk about from what we're already talking about. So I would say one of the things I think is really interesting for facing divorce of an abusive alcoholic at a time where I was not working and he lost his job and was dealing with job hopping after DUIs.
Hmm.
And so I feared the unknown. I feared the divorce. I was really scared of what would happen. Like I was just, and I remember confiding in a couple other adults, and some of them were like people. One of them was an administrator at the school where I would say, "Oh my gosh," because I needed people. Like I know my kids need to have people in this scenario, and I'd be like talking about, "Hey, can you just like give my son a little extra love, attention, like." Hey, are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Whatever during this process because he's losing his father figures, losing that man to talk to. And, but like, I just remember, and I think it was the first time like someone said to me, like, you'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay. You're smart. You're going to be fine. Like, you'll be okay. And I really needed someone to tell me that. And I was. And I will tell you, the absolute worst part of my divorce was all before I filed for divorce. It
It's the
was
thoughts.
me having anxiety about the whole thing.
So it was a you against you's problem.
Because in the end, like the divorce and the process, it's annoying, but it was nothing like what it was like living in this situation with someone who like pulled out a gun on me in the house. Like
Yeah.
this was a much different, serious situation. It was scary. And I was pushed and pushed and pushed, and I would not jump. Like, and it's like it kept getting worse and worse until I jumped.
It's like the universe
Eventually,
being like,
you
when are you
have
going
to
to
go.
learn?
It will keep, and when you're not where you're supposed to be in life, I swear, I think life it will send you stuff like that and push you to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I grew up in a really religious home, and I'm not religious, but I had a woman come up to me when I was in one of the abusive situations when my kids were little. And she came to me and she brought me some paperwork, and it was called God's Protection of Women. And she looked at me and she said, God will forgive you. And I like, I had like a moment because for 10 years I didn't have that kind of like
Yeah.
support from the religious family. They were
Right.
supporting my abuser. And like I needed someone to like remove that block, like that fear I had of like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. Like this is so awful. Like my own particular, I don't know, like to say my own parents, are they going to support me? Like this whole thing was just, I needed some blocks to be cleared here and there for this to happen. But all my fear and anxiety was, and everything was before and was when you're in it.
Yeah.
Now, I know people who go through really terrible divorces, but you do have to realize you're in this peaceful, wonderful state of living on your own where you don't have that stuff in your house anymore. You come home to a peaceful house and you can do yoga and light candles and eat girl dinner and like do whatever. And it's glorious. I
Yeah.
was going to bed early. I was going to the gym at the crack of dawn, which is, I'm not a morning person. And I was like coming home and doing yoga and meditating and like meal prepping and taking care of myself. Like it was a good time.
I think it's pouring all of your energy into a negative energy
Uh
can be
huh.
like that weight. But the moment that you have all this extra energy and you're like, I don't know what to do with it, you start pouring it back into yourself.
All the love I needed, I was pouring into myself.
And I mean, you have all the love you need to pour back into yourself. And it
Yeah.
is,
It was really like all I needed was to actually love myself, which is, I think I wasn't doing when I was allowing it. And I spent a lot of time sacrificing myself for whatever I thought would make the best world for my kids.
as much
But
as
it's
you love
still
me.
not wrong. I mean, it's still not quite right. Like, it depends on, I could keep a relatively peaceful
Yeah.
life, but those things were still happening. Right.
Right.
And so I would say, I mean, I think there's people that there's preparations you can do beforehand for finances, and there are some people that financially the divorce is just going to be a nightmare no matter what. But if you get out of abuse and you get out of the house, like it is so worth it. I mean, I know so many women that lived in $1 million mansions with the worst men and they left and they have a more simple life and maybe they didn't remarry a rich guy and they're so happy. They're
Yeah.
just so loved and happy. And it's beautiful. Like it wasn't about material things. So it's just the divorce is going to be whatever it's going to be. There's some that I hear about are just absolute nonsense.
I
And it's
mean,
just people that are being childish and vindictive. I kept it straight to the point. Here's our finances. Let's do this. I said, let's just let the court decide on support. I'm married to you for 20 some years. Let's have the judge tell us what he thinks is appropriate.
this whole thing does just make me feel like prenups are always a great idea. I don't know. At this point,
I totally
you never
agree.
know what's going to happen.
This is the funny thing that I don't get like, oh my gosh, he
How
wanted a
could you?
prenup and I felt so appalled. Well, no, the thing is don't you want to work that out while someone's totally head over heels in love with you?
And they'll make it
As
even
opposed to
more
when they're
fair.
mad at you? Like, write it
Yeah.
out. Like, deal with it. Like, and the thing is nothing with children and child support is allowed in a prenuptial
Right.
agreement. But all you're talking about is this is my property, this is your property. Let's have like some say of how we're handling this. But there's marital assets that come into play that will be, dealt with in a certain different way as time goes by. Like
Right.
equity on a house that you buy during the process. Like you both get equity. Like there's just a lot of things, right? And I just think if you wanted to prevent any of this, you want to, I don't care who you are, I don't care how rich or poor you are, a prenup is a pretty darn good thing. I think it should be like a requirement with the
Yeah.
marriage license.
I think you should
Just
have to
just to
sign
make
saying you don't
things
want one.
peaceful and more and easier. I mean, I just think they could be doing that better
Well, it's like,
because the fear for most women of what's going to happen keeps them stuck there. And that's not empowering women to leave and take care of themselves. And that's why our grandmothers stayed married all the time and the divorce rate was low.
but the murder rates
Guess
were high.
why?
I'm just kidding.
Grandma knew which powders to use in Grandpa's tea, so
But
he died
it's
later.
also not saying that you're planning on getting divorced one day. Like, it is something that is a protection for your assets that you had before you came into a marriage.
Yeah.
Also, protecting yourself, because you may think you know somebody, but something could happen that causes
Things
divorce.
happen,
Life
things change,
happens.
people make dumb decisions. Like so much can happen.
Put it in writing where you both love each other and you both will want to make it as even and fair as possible at that moment.
Yeah, and
So
if someone
that's,
can't sit with you and talk about that fairly, do you want to marry that person? Like,
I
no.
feel like somebody who says, like, ooh, I don't want a prenup, like, are you going into a marriage with the wrong idea then?
Hmm.
Like, oh no, I don't want a prenup because just in case I divorce you, and then I can take half your stuff. Because that is something that I hear from women, to men whenever they argue is, well, I'll just divorce you and take half of your stuff. It is so manipulative too.
That's just a weird statement in general. So the main thing is like it's not about taking someone, and hurting them
Right.
financially. Like, I think people are so vindictive and they can be hurt and upset after abuse or an affair.
Right.
I don't really think an affair is so big of a deal that we have to go and like try to financially ruin your partner or the father of your children. Like just that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Brad, I get it. Your feelings are hurt, made you feel like shit. But there's a lot of reasons behind why people do that. They're not exactly charming for his character, right? So it's like remember those things. And a person, if let's just say this is so rare that say a really wealthy couple are getting married, they're always going to have a prenup, right? And
Yeah.
the woman's going to be like, okay, how are you going to take care of me if we get divorced?
Hmm.
And it kind of, you have to have that conversation anyway with anything because, like, okay, if we're talking about me staying home with the kids or this or that, this is our style, this is what we want, which,
Right.
by the way, you should have been discussing all these things. That's why if you do premarital counseling, the point is like to make sure you've discussed
All the things you haven't thought about.
all the things
Yeah.
so that you're no surprises.
I think that's important.
Yeah. And so for me, I think if you could eliminate that like from the beginning, you might feel a little better and you might feel like you weren't trapped in an abusive situation. And I would be really questionable about like a man wanting to deal with that in a strange way before you get married. Like that would be a big red flag of them not wanting to say, "Oh, I'm going to make sure you have a house and our kids, like, you're okay."
I
You
feel
should
like
want
there's
to
a
know
lot
that
of
you're
things that
okay.
like people don't talk about before they get married. Like I know my boyfriend and
Apparently.
I talked about I'm like, oh yeah, if we ever get married, I want a prenup, and he's like, oh well, I feel like that just made me feel even better about you as a person. Like you love me for me and not for like what I could be or how much money I have or whatever it is. He's like, oh, you actually love me for me. Like it
You're
was
like,
funny having
"No,
this
I don't want you
conversation.
to take my money."
No, I don't want you to
So
take
I'm a
my money.
boss.
But it's like if someone doesn't agree, I just feel like there's some like weird. That just also puts a bad taste in your mouth. Like,
Yeah. No, I would
oh,
agree. I think that women need to not act like they're offended if a guy wants a prenup because the point is you're going to be having some really good conversations about life and things that could go wrong and like how would you take care of me or support me in all these scenarios, right? And I think that's a really big deal.
and if he asks for a prenup, you have also power to ask for things that you want in the prenup. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
negotiate.
negotiation. It's not just here's a paper, sign it, and you're effed over.
Yeah, and if someone just proposes you a prenup that you have no say, I mean, at bare minimum, get an attorney to look it over, explain it to you, explain
Mm-hmm.
the language, and always red line out the parts you don't like and say, all right, here are my stipulations. Go over this with your attorney and let me know what you think. And then they
Yeah.
can redraft it in 5 seconds and
You go
send
back
it
and
out.
forth until you both are like fully happy with everything that's in there.
And if you can't do it, you probably shouldn't get married.
If you can't sign a
If
prenup,
you can't work
I'm
things
just
out,
kidding.
not if you can't sign it. If you
Can't
can't,
sign it.
if you literally couldn't come to an agreement on all that
Is
stuff,
that really the person you want to marry that you can't like?
oh, we can't talk anything out. Let's get married and see how that goes. I don't know. That's how I see that. That would be my. But for the divorce part, take financial protections. Talk to all the best attorneys in town beforehand because I guess if you've talked to them, then he can't use them because it's a conflict of interest. So make sure you've talked to all of the best attorneys in town. Just all you need is a 10-minute consultation with them because once they have your name is in their books, he can't hire them. Could be my
That was
biggest.
funny.
Do that.
So, I guess what would you suggest for people who might feel like they don't have much to split? It's just one partner who's getting when they're planning on getting divorced is kind of being harsh about everything. But you don't have like kids, you don't have huge assets, but it's like you're financially struggling, or
hmm
what kind of advice might you have for like younger people getting divorced or dealing with separation?
I honestly don't understand then what they're fighting over, other than just they're
I think
not
it's just
done
being
dealing with
petty.
their. I think it's just they're dealing with their emotions.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're emotional, if someone hurt you, like usually, if I think if young people just if they just say you just decided this isn't working with me, your personality is changing, I'm unhappy, we don't have the same goals going forward. Let's get divorced before we have kids because it's easy.
Yeah.
Well, fine, but one person probably is feeling blindsided and more emotional and they're butthurt and they're gonna, you know, just be lashing out a little bit because they're not done processing it. And so I think in those scenarios, it's like that person wants to talk with you to talk it out, but in reality, you need a break completely. And probably need to go to a
Cool off.
counselor to talk it out or a friend unrelated to the scenario,
Yeah.
but it's like ugh, nobody really wants to listen
I
to
guess
that.
it's
So,
kind of hard, like with people who get divorced and like their friends or family, like subconsciously or consciously, like pick sides. Even if people get divorced and it's like supposed to be amicable,
mhm,
I don't know what it is about people who just pick sides. And now, you might feel like, "Ugh, I thought we all were friends. Why can't we stay friends?" And it's kind
mm,
of like I mean, this is just what I've seen from a few people. It's just like they want you to pick a side.
I don't. I've never had anybody act like they wanted me to pick a side. Now, I've had scenarios where I have kind of picked a side because of something someone did that I don't appreciate or support.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm like, it just really isn't a thing. You kind of just hang out with who you hang out with. I don't personally have anyone that got divorced where I hang out a lot with both
Both of them.
parties. But I just
Or if
think you
like,
sort of evolve a little bit. But it's like if someone has a barbecue and they want to invite you and your boyfriend and your ex and their new person, like they might just say, "Hey, I just want you guys to know, yeah, you're all invited. So if
so
it's going to be a problem for any of you,
don't
that's on
come.
you."
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be it shouldn't be the host's problem. Like if they want to, hey, I'm inviting all my friends.
Right.
Do you guys? I mean, and some people are great and they're totally amicable. It's no big deal.
Well, I feel like a lot
Depends
of
what happened.
parents also try to like pin their kids against each other, which I don't think is appropriate to, show that kind of thing to your kids. Like showing that you can be amicable, having respect
Are you
for
still
the
not talking
other.
about divorce?
Yeah.
You mean kids that are a
Like,
parent trying to make their kid mad at the other parent?
yes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
I don't know
ball game.
why.
It's awful.
That's just horrible.
I
Like,
think there can be some honesty, but that's a big picture, and that's how old is the kid and what do they need to know,
any
and
age, they try to
it's a
pin
lot of
them
things.
against
Well, I
each
know that they
other.
are doing it. I'm just saying, like my response for what to do would probably vary on the situation a little bit there, but I don't think anyone should be just bad mouthing anybody because it just makes you look bad.
I also
I
think you're
didn't.
teaching your
I never went on
kids
Facebook and said, "What a piece of crap my ex is. I'm getting divorced." Like I don't know. What
um
does that do?
I don't know.
Nothing.
I've seen some like parents who have been divorced for 10 plus years and their kid is still like a part of both of their lives.
hmm
And they both can even be in the same place, amicable, be like, "Hey, how are you? Let's have a conversation. Oh my gosh, we love our kid."
Yeah.
And that is like something that I just think is so beautiful because I feel like a lot of other divorces that I've seen, it's just so like we can't even be in the same room together just for our one kid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's sad. And
You just made it hard for your kid.
unless they did something, really awful, it's like I think for your children's sake, you got to suck it up. It's like in the middle of my divorce, or no, yeah, I was trying to think if it was before, your brother graduated from high school,
Hmm.
and we go to the graduation, and I'm sitting with my mom, and he comes, he sits wherever, and in the end, I was like, texting, we're trying to figure out a meeting spot. And like, it was important for us to get together and take a photo of
Yeah.
him with both of his parents, even though like it wasn't the most amicable moment of what was going on in history, but it was like that front for him to have that support, I think was important to me. Like I would never have been like, oh, you take a picture with your dad and then come over here and take a picture with me. And like that makes me feel like a fourth grader. Even if he had cheated on me, I mean, what was happening was, alcoholism. I was losing his job. I mean, DUI. I'm just not going to hold that against the situation again, where it would be detrimental to my child.
Yeah, and I feel like it affects your kids where they start to feel like, especially when they're younger and it's harder for them to fully understand or they don't know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
They start to kind of like internalize like, "Oh, am I the problem? Because mom won't hang out with me if dad's there and so on and so forth." And now you just have this weird, feelings in children where they feel like they're the big issue on
Well,
why
you can
you're getting
tell like it's
divorced.
the really hard, sticky thing that happens in a lot of divorces is only one person is willing to work or one person is doing the healing.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of mothers that really struggle because their ex-husband is like the most petty, obnoxious, immature behavior and not
Yeah.
being allowed, oh, I can't be in the same room with her. And it's like just because she's divorced you, like that's
Suck it up.
really seriously, suck it up.
Just be a
Like
man
for
or a
your
woman,
kids, like so
whatever,
you can tell, like they don't realize that they're just showcasing how insanely immature they are
to everyone else.
to everyone.
Yeah.
Like we know. Like I could say I'm not going to come. The only thing I can think of why I wouldn't want to be around someone would be like criminal offenses where they shouldn't be there anyway.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a pedophile? Well, you're not going to be at the child's birthday party anyway.
But like
So,
other than that, like there is not really anything that should really affect you being able to put on a good front for your child, but also teaching your child like respect for others and being amicable and all of that. I, I don't
well,
know.
overall, I think yes. I mean, when there's some also significant abuse, then what, right? I wouldn't want to be in the same room with someone who'd beat the crap out of me, right? So, but then the thing is what are you doing? Like they're still getting parenting time,
I
and
think that's another issue.
that's a whole, I mean, hot soup of
Those are like the
mess.
off scenarios too that we'd have to like go down, but I think we're talking about like, you know, normal divorces without abuse or anything that would be like pedophilia that should make sure they shouldn't be in those situations.
Yeah.
But if it was like, someone cheated or we just don't work anymore, you should be able to like be respectful for your kids.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying you have to talk to each other and hang out. I
No,
mean,
you don't even have to be friends.
but it should be amicable. Like if you show up to your kid's high school or college graduation or their wedding, and it shouldn't be weird.
Yeah. I mean, just
Like,
don't talk to
don't
each
make it
other
weird.
if you don't have to, if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Just
I
go,
mean,
hey, bye.
it's not about you. It's not all about you.
Yeah. Some people take everything way too
You're not
personally.
always
Back
the
to the
main
beginning. Everyone
character.
takes everything way too personally.
I think sometimes people do, and then like, how do you work on that? So maybe partly of just looking at ways to build your confidence for setting boundaries and practice with smaller boundaries. But anytime you're single and you're going to date someone new, you have to go into it with the hardest boundaries ever.
What kind of person are you attracting if you can't be your 100% full authentic self with upholding your boundaries, doing what you like, not changing who you are for someone else?
Hmm.
Like, that's not the person that you want if they're going to make you feel small or, insignificant to them and they don't trust or they don't respect your boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, all of that.
And I mean, that's part of how you build trust. And I see people really struggling with, oh, he's doing this and he's not texting me back at night and this is happening and that is happening. You already have your answers for the most part. I mean, yes, there's some women that I think are very insecure, and usually, sadly, it's because someone else already treated them like garbage,
Yeah.
right? But you do have to start over. Like each person is new, and yes, you're hyper vigilant sometimes at first because when you've had someone who's done something, who's cheated, like you become really aware and you're
Yeah.
looking for the same signs. but you also got to relax a little bit. And then fortunately the only way you can truly learn about someone and trusting them is by trusting them. Give them a chance. Like if it's a good guy, you just got to like go for it.
I feel like if you have to even like second guess where you're like, oh, well, they've kind of done something in the past that's made me question, so I don't know if I trust them. It's like, what's your answer if
They
you
did
can't?
something in the past. Well, and all, the other thing is if when you're in a new relationship and you're talking about boundaries, you're talking about your maybe past experiences, or I don't even want to call it trauma, but if you're like, I would feel better if we shared location with one another
Yeah,
or whatever that would make me just relax. I My boyfriend travels a lot, and I was working for a while where I was like driving around and going to people's homes. And so we each shared location and we would just continue to share location all the time. I don't want him to wonder where I am when he travels and he's out of town, like wondering if I'm out, if I'm home. We have some cameras. He could see if someone's coming and going from the house. I'm giving him that mental security while he's gone. I can essentially see like him driving around or his like where he is for his meetings or if he's at his hotel. I mean, and it's like we don't spend all day looking at it. I might look to see, oh, is he done with his meeting so I can call.
I share it with you, and sometimes I just check to make sure you're at home. You're not going crazy on a Friday
Well,
night.
tell them what you say about your Sims.
I'm checking on my Sims every so often. It's not every day.
She
Just
looks at Life
sometimes I have like
360 and
my
calls us her
friends. I have
Sims
like a few
to see
friends,
if we
my
went
family.
to the gym.
Just making sure. I'm like, oh, they're at the gym at 7 a.m. I hope they're having fun. Good workout. Or I'll text them like, or at night on a Friday or Saturday. I'm like, did everybody get home safe?
Yeah, but I mean, this is funny. The funny thing to me is like if you're talking about all these things about how to create peace and stability and giving your partner like more peace of mind, helping their sanity. Well, I don't understand why that would ever bother you. Like, so the men who are like, oh my God, I can't believe she asked for my location.
We don't share location.
But like,
Not you and me, but
but
Brent.
like,
Like,
so if you guys had to deal with it your way, however
we
you
just
want,
don't really care.
right? And the thing is like, he doesn't, you guys don't really have the same life or the same
No.
situation. And it started for like, really safety.
Yeah.
And we also share calendars. So his address of everywhere I'm supposed to be, like when I was driving around for appointments, because I wanted
Yeah.
someone to know where I was.
I
And
do
I've
the
had a couple of
same.
scary situations. So, some of that is like, hey, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting to me if someone's uncomfortable, like if you asked for that. So if you were a woman that had been cheated on, and as a man, I guess if you're looking for a way to create more comfort and someone say, hey, how can I help you feel better and trust me more? It's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to just share my location with you. So does that just, you can look whatever you want. Hey, she's going to be looking at it all the time, but it's going to like make her feel better and
I
she's
feel
going to
like
start to relax. And just the openness of that, like someone who loves you and cares about you and isn't doing anything wrong isn't going to have a fit if you ask for that.
I think it becomes a problem though when some people are obsessive about it, to where it's like, oh, I'm seeing his location and it's at, this place right now. What could he possibly be doing right now? He's at home, but he said that he was going
I
to the
think
grocery store. Like, some people become too obsessive, and it's not a like peace of mind, like, oh, he made it home. It's, oh, I'm checking it every night
so.
at
Can
2
I can
a.m.
I preface this that I don't think this is something you ask when you're dating, in your early dating and you're young people. Like you have to build some of that trust. But we live together.
Well, I
We've
know.
lived together for almost 3 years. Like
But I feel like people who aren't into the like moving in stage and they're still dating, like they're exclusively together. But then some women, I feel like, take it to an excessive amount of like tracking them, knowing their every move, calling them until they fall asleep, staying on the phone all night on FaceTime,
just to show that you're there. Well, then it's
texting every second of the day. And
yeah.
oh my God, they haven't replied in 5 minutes. Like,
Well, I
it
think
becomes obsessive. And
I think you're that's what we're talking about, like about needing to be able to set boundaries, but
mm,
also creating your confidence and being more just obsessing over someone's whereabouts and what your boyfriend is doing isn't going to change anything other than you being anxious and stressed out. In the end, you have to decide to trust them.
Yeah.
And when they break your trust, you move on. You have to set the boundary. You have to say, okay, well, we're done now. Been fun. Moving on. And if someone doesn't make you feel good and you don't feel like you can trust them, they're probably just not the right person for you
Yeah.
because you want someone who behaves in a certain way.
But also at the end of the day, like checking your partner's location, phone or whatever, like it's not going to stop them if they ever do decide to go and cheat. People
Yeah.
are going to make their choices
Hmm.
and you can never stop that from happening. So what are you looking through it to, like just see if it happened? Cuz like you can't if you see something, it's not going to stop if they decide to make that choice.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Is like you can sit and obsess over it your entire marriage, or you can just choose to trust them. And then if you find out about it, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But you just, God, you stress yourself out. There's so much anxiety and stress. You have to be like, at what point am I? I mean, it's like that. What's it called? Hypervigilance, I guess, is essentially what I'm trying to say. That you're something happened to you and you don't want it to happen again. So you're just always looking for catching them. And I mean, like, what do they call it? Like the
It's the loyalty test. So like women will have another person who, isn't their friend or
to
whatever,
hit on your boyfriend.
text or like Instagram
Who the heck would
DM
just
your
text someone?
boyfriend just to see if they'll like say
Talk to
they have a
them.
girlfriend or if they're interested.
That's
I'm
so
like,
weird.
if you feel like you
You're
have to
also the
test
problem in
them,
this scenario.
I feel like if you have to test them, that might not be your person. Like if you
That's
don't
also
trust them
a
already,
little sick. we were talking about this the other night. I asked my boyfriend, well, how would you feel if you found out I did this? Like purposely had a woman like a pretty account on Instagram, like message you and comment on your stuff, or like
yeah,
I don't even know how. Like, I don't even see him
whatever it was.
replying to any of the messages. It's not like a social media person, and I'm like, what do you think? And he's just like, seriously? Like, I mean, like, who would? I would feel like I would think less of the person that did it. I'm like, normal, healthy people don't loyalty test each other.
Well, you don't need it. Like if it
I
requires
if
you
I
to do
need
it,
it, there's a whole.
that's
I
a whole
already
other
know. I
problem.
already
You
know.
you
Like
know
it's
deep
already
down.
wrong, right? So it's like, why?
It's very
Why is that a
strange.
normal? No, that's just so immature. That's a
I think
hard
that's
no for
like
me.
it sounds like middle school dating crap. Like, will
I
you
think it's
text
like
Johnny and see
it
if he
sounds like high school, but these groups, I'm assuming it's women over 18. So I don't know if it's college kids, college
I think it's all
age.
ranges
And I'm like,
from
loyalty testing your boyfriend. Like already then maybe doesn't like you. You
I
would
don't know.
know. I mean, my
You
gosh,
know deep down if you feel like you have to test or you have to try to do something to catch him in the act,
just
you
break up with
just
him.
leave. You're
Start
not
somewhere.
happy.
Like you're not that needy. You're not that. I mean, there's so many other men. And if people don't start setting boundaries with men, I feel like they're
They're
never
just
going to
gonna keep
learn.
getting worse.
Yeah, they talk about, oh, men's behavior, men this and that. Well, if you don't start shutting them down when they do these things,
They're never gonna
they will
change.
always do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way. Should we take a break right here?